Yeah, I feel like a lot of brands, as they try to scale, you almost it gets harder to control the brand and keep the edge the brand has, right? And I'm sure you've seen that with the successful companies you've had before. How do you grow Noble and that brand and what Noble stands for without really softening the brand? You mentioned, I think, going into more lifestyle than not just sports. How do you do that?
I mean, it's all about being genuine, real, and authentic.
Yeah.
We live in a very fake world right now.
Hmm.
We live in, what do you think they want me to say? I've probably cursed more in this podcast than all your guests ever, right?
True.
Like no bull stands for no bullshit.
Yeah.
Listen, there are going to be people on your podcast that turn me off because I'm obnoxious.
Mm.
And then there are people that are probably going to watch it 2 times.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell people you have to be you, be yourself. So as a brand, once you start to, you know, redefine yourself or change because of scale, this is who we are. We're unapologetic.
Hmm.
We're going to be real. We're going to be genuine. We're not for everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
But there are too many brands that try to be everything to everybody,
Hmm.
and they wind up being nothing to nobody. Noble is way different than Nike. Nike's lost right now.
Yeah.
Nike is a lost brand.
Yeah.
Nike's looking around saying, who are we? They have no idea. Everybody has gained market share on them.
Hmm.
The Hokas of the world, the New Balances of the world, the Adidases of the world, the On Clouds of the world. I mean, here's a little secret, Adam. Nike's not cool.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, Nike's Gatorade. It's just not a cool brand anymore. And the smartest thing they did is split off Jordan.
Hmm.
Jordan's still cool. Nike's not cool.
Yeah.
Nike's become Under Armour, to be honest with you. And I don't know how you get that cool factor back with Gen Z and millennials.
Yeah.
So this is a marathon. This is a marathon building this brand, not a sprint.
Yeah.
We're here for the long haul. Noble is think about an athletic brand, that is going to focus on mental first, then emotional, and then physical.
Yeah.
We all know that. I mean, Adam, I've said this in a couple of my podcasts, is I tell everybody in this world has a mental illness. We got to just come clean. We all have something. I don't know if you have a little ADHD. I don't know if you have a little OCD. I don't know if you have a little anxiety. I don't know if you get everybody has something.
Yeah.
There's this stigma about mental illness. Well, Noble's going to get rid of the stigma, because if everybody has it, it can't be a stigma, can it? It can't be. Yeah. I joke that I have so many mental illnesses, I balance myself out that I become normal. Like if you can laugh at yourself and know, Tom Brady and Kobe Bryant were OCD. That's why Tom Brady, made sure that he threw the ball in a perfect spot and knew every single alignment and knew if there was a little air out of the ball. Kobe Bryant knew if the rim was off 1/8 of a centimeter, because he had that. Yeah. That's because these guys want to be great. The worst thing about ADHD is lack of focus. Yeah. The best part is hyperfocus. Once you hyperfocus. So let's take this stigma away and let's just be real. Yeah. We all have something. Yeah. So focus on mentality. Noble will change mental illness into mental wellness. Like, will yourself to go. Work on your mental, work on your emotional, and then working out will make you only better and stronger. Yeah. I want to teach grit. It's a trait that's missing now. I encourage people to fail. Who wants to go 0 for 0 their whole life? I'd rather go 10 for 100. Yeah. I'd rather be wrong 90 times and at least right 10. We got to encourage people to fail. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah. I talk a lot about with athletes that the very best in the world, they all have some kind of elite characteristic. Like there's something they do that they're the best at. And I want to ask you about being an entrepreneur. I think it's the same thing. If you've had the level of success you've had, there is an elite trait that gives you an advantage over everybody else. What's your elite characteristic?
Work ethic, probably. I mean, listen, if you work 9 hours a day and you're twice as good as me, I'm going to work 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
and I'm just going to catch up. If Tom Brady was my neighbor, I would be the second best quarterback in the NFL. If Tiger Woods was my neighbor, I'd be the second best golfer in the world. I mean, that's the competitive nature about outworking somebody.
Yeah.
Like, so to me, you got to have the work ethic, right? Sometimes people don't know in life where the world is going to take them, and they sit still. Move, just keep going. You're going to find it. I don't know what it is, but just keep going. And everyone has their own journey. But to me, work ethic and putting the time in is the most important thing. And whatever I have a saying, think big, dream bigger. Mm-hmm. And I've been so blessed to, I keep moving the goal line. So, I keep wanting to win at a higher level or win this. You've heard the great athletes say, what's the best championship you've ever had? Or the best Super Bowl, the best World Series, or the best NBA championship? And the great ones always say the next one.
Next one, yeah.
To me, Body Armor was the best brand I've ever built till the next one, which is going to be Noble.
Yeah. I talk a lot on this podcast about adversity and just that anyone who's been successful, there's been some point where it didn't go well throughout the journey. What's a moment in your career so far you feel like you faced the most adversity, and how'd you overcome it?
Adam, I say something that on the surface sounds very mean. I pray everyone has adversity. I pray. Yeah. Now, the reason why I don't really have to pray it is everyone is going to have adversity. Mm-hmm. Adversity is inevitable. Everybody's going to have it. But what I really pray for is that they work themselves through it and they get better for it, and they always will. I've had adversity my whole life. I mean, my mom put me in kindergarten because, she was an immigrant, first generation, and my grandmother couldn't watch me and my brother. So I'm 4 years old and kids are 6 years old in kindergarten. I'm 18 months younger. My dad's 5 foot. I'm 5'11", thank God. But I'm 13 years old and I graduate high school at like 16 and a half years old. So I'm getting I was a good athlete, except I'm playing with kids 3 years older than me that are blocking my shots every time. Mm-hmm. So I had to be scrappy. So 99% of the kids would have been like, fuck, I give up. But I had to just pick myself up, and I was always the underdog. Yeah. And, but I've had family adversity. People pass away. People close get sick. Businesses that, I had a great brand called Energy Kitchen. I lost $25 million. That doesn't feel too good. I'm 0 for 11 in the Kentucky Derby. I had adversity this weekend. I got 3 scratches and 8 losses. I got the most scratches in Kentucky Derby history. That's adversity this week. My daughter beat me in Monopoly last night. It's pissing me off. When she gets home today, we got to play. That was adversity. Yeah. So adversity is a great thing. You don't really want it, but you're going to have to deal with it. So how does Noble or anything like address adversity? Build coping mechanisms for adversity. Put tools in place. I'm going to go work out. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to call a friend. I'm gonna go for a run. I'm gonna go play basketball. I'm gonna go do something. I'm gonna hang out with my kids. I'm gonna have dinner with my spouse. Yeah. There are ways you can handle adversity versus just hiding in your room, waiting for it to go away. Yeah. It doesn't go away. It actually festers and gets bigger. Yeah. Tackle adversity head on and be prepared for it. It's gonna happen.